All right, we are in record mode. Okay,
All right.
so we are starting our second week on this project. And I guess today we're just going to establish, let me go back to our Google Docs so we can just keep notes on that.
This week to me didn't seem quite diversified. Like last week, it seemed like we all got these separate tasks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this one does not seem that way. This one feels like it requires more as a group.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we, after going and reading ours and one other group are the only ones that have posted their project as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
There seems a little more in depth, like there's more to the lesson than ours, but it's kind of hard to decide if it's, for me it was, is it one lesson or is it like a couple lessons?
I think there's will have to be a couple lessons, won't it? I mean,
Well, I went back and because I was assuming, but it didn't specifically say, which I felt was odd. But also, when I went back and read it, it says that the educator who's learning gets to choose: do they want to build a new document or do they want to edit a new document?
right.
So I'm wondering if you pick one, do you have a second lesson where you learn the other? I mean, it's smart because it gives the person choice to choose something that based on their comfort level.
Yeah. The one thing that I thought that they did much better than we did, that we probably need to incorporate into ours, is the criterion based, where like we can assess whether or not our students, teachers in this case, have accomplished whatever it is that we're asking them to do.
Yeah.
Because it didn't feel like we did anything about that, unless I'm flaking, not remembering all that we did. But I guess I just feel like maybe we need to make that aspect a little bit more specific.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't feel like we really have a big assessment piece, which is a large portion of this week's assignment.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
But like in our goal, we didn't say like they will become familiar with. So like in my reading, in the reading this week, it was talking about how, well, no, it was in the additional material in the unit, in the module where they were saying that if we use terms like become familiar with something or know how to do something, then how do we know when they've reached that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe we just need to rephrase,
Change that in the goal.
so that there's a measurable goal.
Okay.
Okay.
Which I think will come out too when we're looking at the instructional objectives. Like those objectives are specific, right? They're
Okay.
So maybe we should change it to educators attending the trainings will be able to.
Okay. So kind of changing the wording of the goal.
Be able to, what do we want them to do? Create.
Well, I guess that depends on what we choose to teach them. So, because
Well, I'm in the document, so
Yeah, I see that.
I'm working on adjusting that now. So if we can pick those, I can change that wording because it's literally one sentence at the end of the goal.
Right. That's what I thought. Like it was just going to be a word or two that would make it more defined or more measurable. But you could put, at this point, we could just say, don't erase it. Are you going to erase it?
I took that one, I took out become familiar with numerous uses of, and I was going to put will be able to, and then if we pick a couple specific instead of familiar, but say specifically they're going to do this,
Okay.
you can add this will allow for use of Google Docs for collaboration, feedback, or whatever. I can change the wording just enough that it'll just create a second sentence and be a little more specific.
Okay.
So we just have to decide what specifically we want them to be able to do.
I know our main goal is to help with student collaboration.
Right. So if we look at the different tasks that aid in collaboration, like we can assume that they already know how to create docs and they already know how to manage their folders and they already know how it's similar and different to Word. We can work on the tasks that specifically aid in collaboration. Right?
Yeah.
But then I think the sample that we had that you put Adrian in that other document or the other thing, I opened that up and they stated all the things that the people were supposed to already know how to do.
Okay.
So like they said, you have to be able to create. The one that they had is the Google Classroom. So they said they already know how to create it. They already know how to manage, I think, or maybe I'm confusing them.
I know they had like a prerequisite, like in some cases, they were already, they're assuming that they're already familiar with some aspects of Google Classroom, that particular document.
So let me go back to that document and see where they put that, and I can put teachers in this training will already know how to ...
I think I'm confusing the two because I think it was in that one other group's project. Yeah, it is. So the one that the Nearpod one, when they're describing the steps in their task analysis, the first one is that they'll successfully sign into the program. And then the prior understanding is that they will have already created they'll already be a member or whatever. They'll already have their sign-in information. Like they'll already have done that.
Okay.
So that's our classmates, not the previous assignment that we're referencing.
Okay.
For us, would it be that the teachers already have like a Gmail account and like the students already have their emails to be able to access it? That is it for us?
And they'll already know how to create and share documents because they're going to have to know how to create it and how to share it with their students. So therefore, the students can start working on the collaboration piece where they're editing the document at the same time, they're using the chat feature, and the teacher is leaving feedback where they're not changing it, but they're leaving it off to the side like we do, where we highlight it and leave the note off to the side saying, hey, what do you think about this? So
I'm sorry to cut y'all off.